this way in medicine that it also got its own name. It's named after Saturn, and I forgot his first name, but Saturn was just it wasn't. Don't be mistaken. It wasn't just a professor of medicine. Absolutely not. It was just professor of epidemiology, professor of statistics, whatever. No, absolutely not. Saturn was just a bank robber, and as far as I know, I think that he was just busted by police, and he was asked by a press reporter on something like why he why he robbed a bank or something like this, and the Saturn said a very famous quotation, something like, um, no, "Okay, I just robbed the bank because the bank is where the money is. Yeah, the bank is where the money is." Something like this. He said something like this, and if you try to transfer or translate it in some maybe more medicinal English, it's absolutely where the money is. Yeah. So go do something which is pragmatic at the moment, or which is, for example, let's say most feasible at the moment, at the decisive moment. In other words, this is the meaning of the Sutton's law. So it's also be applied on a diagnostic tools. For example, start with a simple test. Start, for example, if you are wondering about ultrasound and MRI, start with ultrasound. Because ultrasound is much more cheaper than MRI. It's like it's more comfortable for a patient because it takes, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes. So MRI took maybe 40 to 60 minutes. It's either it's cheaper, cheaper and quicker and more comfortable for patients. So start with simple tests. If we will be more into mathematics, the Sutton laws, some interesting mathematics, how to minimize the time length of the X process based on permutation inequality, which is also known as a Cauchy-Schwarz inequality. But forget on this. It's like only for a possible mathematical enthusiast among you, if there are any. And also the Sutton's law is, I would say that Sutton's law is something very similar to Occam's razor, and definitely Occam's razor is something which is routinely known, like it's just common sense, you don't have to study medicine to know what is Occam's razor. But Sutton's law is something which is typical for medicine, and it's just I would say it's just a variant of Occam's razor applied to medicine. So it's just something like which definitely good to know about as Sutton's law. But the logic of Sutton's law is absolutely clear. And there's like a very old physician's adage. I don't know if you heard it before, but this is also a meaning of. In other words, it's also something which is pretty similar to the meaning of the Sutton's law. And physicians sometimes say that when you hear who beats, think horses, not zebras. Yeah. You know that nowadays I think the situation is maybe more complex because if we are a doctor, for example, in Africa, so Doctors Without Borders, something like this, then if we are a doctor in Africa, maybe think also about zebras, yeah. But just, yeah, forget on this. So when you hear blueberries, think horses, not zebras. So it is just Sutton law, last principle, and there are there was just so few words about this because I talk about the rules, or the principles to use, and maybe you realize that for almost all of them, it's important to know the numbers, to know the numbers where which should be applied in the formulas to get some results. Let's say, even here or here or whenever. And where to get the numbers. Okay, it's a tricky part because there's no, like, for example, some tables which could, for example, store all these numbers, because it's also based on some context. So it should be parts of papers or scientific articles, because it's not so much easy as to extract all the tables numbers, because there could be some designs by which the papers could be, for example, they were applied during the for example, paper making or something like this. So it's important to know the context. So it's better to read the whole articles, not only to extract the numbers. And one of the databases which is good to know about is UpToDate incorporation databases. It has several parts at drag databases, but I think that which we are interested in is just evidence-based clinical decision support. Yeah. I meant just simply this. So I think that if we'll be just on a faculty in a EduRoam connection, I think that you can go to yeah, there are also some application here, but I think that you can simply log in maybe by your university login, but I'm not sure. I think that it could work. Yeah, yeah, like yeah, institutional login. But I'm now now I'm just at my home, so it will over here. I'm not just a VPN. But if it will be just a campus of Charles University, it should be possible to log to using this institutional login. So we can get into the databases, search for the papers, for example, browse between the papers and so on. So UpToDate, it looks like this. So try to remember there's something like the UpToDate databases, which could help you to do the clinical decision making, for example, as appropriate as possible. And yeah, and the second one is Cochrane Library. This one is a very traditional one. Also good to know about. I think that Cochrane Library comes maybe from we just found it in 50s or 60s. It's relatively old, but yeah, old but gold, you know. But also you should be able to sign in using. I think it's also works on some. Yeah, institutional login also. Institutional login. Yeah, it should also work on campus using EduRoam. Institutional login should work. So also good to know about. Sorry, the Cochrane Libraries are some which is really interested in meta-analysis. You know, I talked about this last lecture. So quick recapitulation. Meta-analysis is just a kind of study considering, for example, many papers on the same topic and trying to rebuild all the entry data which were used by the separate all entry papers, and it's usually try to do all the calculations, all the statistics from the very beginning, from the scratch, just to offer us the, let's say, final answer to the scientific question. For example, such that some of the papers could, for example, answer a question like, for example, this is, for example, likely, but the remaining articles could, for example, claim that this is very unlikely, for example. So it means that even despite the fact that they could focus on the same topic, they could bring, for example, different kinds of answers. And meta-analysis is something which could usually try to overcome these difficulties and try to offer one, let's say, final answer, how to say it, something like this. So also good to know about Cochrane Library. It was just based. Sorry, it was just founded in 50s or 60s, and I think that the first large studies guaranteed by Cochrane Library was just the yeah, it was like in a let's say early era of medicine, but it was about like dosing corticosteroids to gravid women, and you know that like dosing and applying corticosteroids for gravid women would be, let's say, dangerous, relatively dangerous, because it would, for example, tend to, for example, to let's start some premature deliveries or something like that, premature births, and also it could also tend to some malformations of the newborns or something like that. So it was just the first meta-analysis done by Cochrane Library, but as I told you, I did just something like early 60s or something like this. Okay, so institutional login is something which is definitely immutable for us. Well, so Cochrane Library and UpToDate. Yeah. These two databases are like very focused. They are just focused on the quantitative evidence-based medicine, and the quantitative medicine is, as I told you, based on these numbers, which could be used to make the let's say the probability-based decision making or something like this, which is sometimes it could be better than only feeling that okay, the diagnosis is, for example, very likely, or I don't know, maybe the diagnosis is likely or not. In such a case, of uncertainty, try to overcome this this situation by, or solve this situation by, for example, using some of the principles I talked about. Okay, guys, that's it. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them now. If not, thank you for your attention. And definitely, this is like the last. This is the last lecture before Christmas and before the end of this year. So let's believe that the upcoming year will be just let's say a bit different. I would say a bit different. So let's believe that the future is bright. And in case there will be just any question, for example, after the lecture, don't hesitate to ask me. So thank you for your attention and have a nice evening, have a nice time, have a nice Christmas, and let's hope we are going, for example, sometimes, for example, see in person or department, or we will see. It depends. It depends also how the exam will be organized. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much and see you eventually. Bye bye.